Hey, Jerome.
Brother, how are you?
Really good. And you?
Doing well, doing amazing. Great to see you.
Yes. Good to see you today.
Awesome, awesome. The connection is great. You look
Uh,
great,
I
glowing.
I tried to be outside in the nature, but the internet didn't want to work there, so I went back inside.
No worries. We're practical with it. We understand that that we can find a better connection outside, but the technology sometimes finds a better connection inside. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
For sure, for sure. So the body enjoys the outside, but sometimes the devices enjoy the inside. It's interesting to see the contrast.
Yeah, and look, even here, like you see this thing behind me. I promise it's not alien technology, but it's like a coherent energy device. It creates like by a photonic scalar wave collision, it's called. So it's like a chi room, so to say. So actually, at least if I have to be inside, I'm here.
Whoa. Okay, wait. It's emitting a frequency?
Right. It's a device called the Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. And basically it's a bit complex, but there's like six screens on each side of the room, and somebody would come to adjust it, to align it to the millimeter, and then basically the scalar waves meet in the middle, they collide, and they make like kind of like this kind of energy, a toroidal field,
Mhm.
and then it expands beyond the room. And when you enter the room in a scientific way, basically there is more voltage, so your cells have a higher millivoltage. So the body heals itself. This doesn't heal you, but it's an amazing place to practice Qigong. People come to meditate here. Some people come to sleep and they get better. So yeah, there is some cool ways to use technology if it's in tune with nature, if you know what I mean. And yeah, that has been one of my passions also the last years.
This is amazing. This is amazing. So we just literally pressed the button and we're already getting started.
Yeah. I had to tell you what is behind me, since you're doing it indoors. Otherwise, you'll go, what is this broken screens going on?
We're already underway. We're already getting started. So, brother, let me know because we haven't like formally met each other, I know, but I would love to know, how do I pronounce your name correctly? What does family call you? What do your family and friends call you?
So my name is Purell, like pure L, Purell. It's not my original name. My original name was Tom when I was born in Israel. But in the last few years, I felt to change my name, and that name came very good. And yeah, since then, that's how I go by.
And you said born in Israel.
Right.
Wow.
Yes, I was born in Israel. My parents are from Israel. My parents were born in Israel.
Hmm.
And yeah, I had my childhood there. And yeah, I grew up there. And then eventually I moved into Spain, where I'm at today. And yeah,
Beautiful,
it's been a journey.
beautiful,
I
beautiful.
feel like I had like sometimes I feel like I had many lifetimes already in this life.
For sure. I feel the same. I
Yeah.
feel the same. Many lifetimes, many past lives in this lifetime for sure. And, being born in Israel, being raised in Israel, being from there, that's where Ray Maor is from as well, right?
That's true. Yeah, that's another guy that is interested in Brettarianism, and yeah, he's from there as well. And it's funny, we have the same last name. I also like Maor is my last name,
Wow.
so Purell Maor,
Yeah, very synchronistic.
right?
Very synchronistic. So, just that having that commonality, it feels very, in harmony because you're both giving the same message. I mean, you both come at it from different directions, but there's that reflection, there's that connection.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. I mean, have you had talks with Ray Mayor as well? I mean, his book was one of the books that I first read when I was on this journey. A Year Without Food. That was one of the first books that I read.
Right. No, I haven't met him in person. I listened to some of the things he's talking about in my journey. So for sure was a good part of it. But no, I haven't met him in person. but there's so many people to learn from, and then you have to see what resonates with you and have your own experience and then see what works, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And speaking of what resonates, how did this path that you're on today originally resonate with you? Like where were you before, what was the beginning of Tom, before becoming Pure L? And like how was that trajectory that led you to the pranic path?
Wow, yeah, it's a lot of things. But basically, as I said, I was born in Israel, and since I was very young, I was interested in different things. First of all, like my father is a very famous handball coach in Israel. Handball is like a sport that you play with the hand, you throw the ball. And so, since I was 4 years old, I grew up playing handball immediately. So, I got into sports and all kinds of things like that. And eventually, like I was already 11 and I was looking into different things online, how to make money online, how to do business online. And I had so many journeys, like I opened so many kinds of businesses and different things doing that. That was my previous life, and you'll see how it leads up to the hell journey. And even when I was 13, I was playing FIFA, this like football game on the PlayStation, and I was one of the best players in the world in one mode. I even learned how to make money from that. So that was a journey, and I've done all kinds of things like trading forex when I was little, like building websites, creating different businesses. But it's really started to grow in that direction when I was probably 17, 18, and I quit school at that time. And nothing against school, but you see, I'm a person, I love to learn, I love to study, but I wasn't interested in what they were teaching me there. So at some point, like I quit school and the business started to go well, and but in the same time, I was more anxious. I was depressed. I was, I wasn't really interactive with people around me because I couldn't resonate with what normal people were doing. Going to party, doing this, and I was creating stuff, and traveling. So yeah, when I was little, I started traveling through the business. That gave me confidence, and then I met people in many conferences, and that opened my worldview, to different kinds of people. And yeah, and then eventually through that process, I started even growing more the business stuff. But eventually, I met my wife as I was traveling. I had like 5 years of very intense travels, sometimes a lot of flight every week going to another place. It was really a lot of changes. And eventually I settled down more with my wife today in Spain about 5, 6 years
And that's
ago.
and
And
that's Ida?
uh, sorry, what do you
And
say?
that's Ida?
Oh yeah, Ira or
Ida.
Irina. Yeah, that's
Ida.
how she goes. Yeah, yeah.
Ida. Ida.
And there is something that happened, like life was really good. I was very successful with business and things. We were living like in luxurious lifestyle. I was 8 years vegan, feeling like healthy and everything, working out, going to the gym 6 days a week, doing all kinds of stuff for my spirituality. But then one day something hit me, and like I had this thing on the appendix. So I thought I was healthy, but one day something started to hurt, and of course I'm the kind of person, like probably most people listening, that I said I will never do a surgery, like why? And in that moment, I wasn't that deep into everything I know now about how to heal the body and so on. So the doctor scared me into doing that. I did the surgery. It's funny because when they got out the appendix, they said, it wasn't that bad. But before, like, they were saying, like, that it was really bad and I have to do it. So after this, I had a few weeks where my stomach was hurting, because they cut you to open to do the surgery. So I couldn't move, and I'm a sports person, so it was hard. I was gaining weight a bit. Um, but so that's when I decided, hey, like all the money in the world, everything doesn't matter if I'm not super healthy. So I decided to reduce as much as possible the stress from work, to automate more things, delegate them, even if it means like reducing the businesses and things like that, and take care of my health. So I started doing all kinds of things for health. I added Pilates, yoga. I found different technologies that are in tune with nature because I never liked the invasive technologies, you know. But some things like infrared sauna or light therapies, ice baths, different technologies like that that can boost grounding stuff. So at that point, it was more technologies. And then I started to get into more like things like working with my mind, meditations, fasting, diet changes. It went even into instead of just being plant-based, then I started to try, you know, like raw vegan, and then a year of just fruits. And then you know how it goes. Like then you want to try everything. So you go with dry fasting every week, 3 days dry fasting per week, on and on. And in the beginning, you don't know, you don't understand the Breatharian message that it has to involve more things than just the food aspects to work with energy and all these things. So yeah, I have so many things I can unpack, but that's kind of how I went from like a high stress business life as a young person, like to, okay, health is more important, spirituality is more important, and things like that.
Yes. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Brother, thank you for that breakdown. Like, thank you for just bringing us down memory lane and just giving us, that origin story and how all of these things had a beginning, and how it's still going and still growing, still learning and still yearning to discover more, to expand more, to explore more, and really to just find more to this existence, more to this reality, and more to the health, just the health aspect of maintaining your center, maintaining your balance, maintaining your focus on feeling healthy in your body. Because I think that it's really coming back to the forefront. People are understanding now more than ever that health is wealth. Like you said, you came from Forex trading, you came from business, you came from big, I mean, making a lot of income from different businesses, traveling, flying, going across the world, where you're still, traveling across the world, but you somehow came into an understanding that if your health was not in the forefront, if your health was not paramount, then the rest didn't really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many parts, you know, there's something that inspired me when I was younger also, like I was in my 20s. Like I'm still in my 20s, I'm 29, but somehow it feels like 100 years ago when I was 20. And I went to one event at that time. It was a Tony Robbins event. I needed that kind of motivation, you know, to raise my energy in that way. And I remember he said something like, you can achieve great things on your own, but if you align your goal with multiple other people goals, you can achieve extraordinary things. And one of the things they made us do, which is a principle I still stick by today and I share with people, is this idea that you want to really have to bring all the areas of your life together instead of sacrificing one or another. Because it's like a car, you know, if the car has four wheels, but you pump the air only in one of them, the car is not going to drive good. You need all of them at a similar level. So they would make you draw like from 1 to 10 each area of your life, your relationship, your spirituality, your career, your finances, your health, all of these kind of things, your family and friends relationships, and how do you feel about it from 1 to 10? How is it? And then you would draw like a chart, and you'll see that the areas where you are, let's say, 3 out of 10, are usually the areas where there is the highest impact for you to work on. So but the thing is, when people understand it's all connected, so if you work on the thing that is 3 out of 10, let's say your health is 3 out of 10, and you really want to have better finances or something. But if you lift your health, it will connect with everything else. So since very young age, I started to see that, oh, if I, rather than, of course, sometimes you have to focus on one thing at a time, but if I bring everything together, there is a compounding effect, and then I can achieve greater things that were not possible before. So, and that's the same like mentality that works when I used to do business, or I still do, just a small amount of time now, where you try to innovate a product, like to make a better product than what exists. and I've sold all kinds of products, created things, and but the essence is you have to look at what people are looking for and how to make it better, and without sacrificing something else that they care for
Right.
already. But that's the tricky thing. How do you keep everything that is important, but bring the missing parts? And that's where you have to go back and forth like a puzzle. So it's the same with your life. If you can keep good relationship with everybody around you, can keep good health, whatever you need for finances, you deal with that, and so on and on. Like it has a stronger impact to it.
Yes, yes. I agree. I agree. And I love how you bring it all in cohesion.
Yes.
You know, it's all cohesive. It's all just got that connectivity. And it's kind of like the saying, we're as strong as our weakest link. You know, where is that weak
Yeah.
link? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is connected, but we are as strong as our weakest link. I remember that. I don't know where I remember that from. Maybe it was a TV show. I think there was a TV show, Purell. There was a TV show, a lady, she used to tell people, and they were on this game show and they were winning money. I think they were winning like millions of dollars. But if they lost, if the contestant lost the round and if they had to bow out of the competition, she would point to them and say, you are the weakest link. And she would say, goodbye. And they would have to leave. They would have to leave the set. Like she would be like, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. And then they would have to go. And so the rest of the contestants would continue and they would hold that link together. They would hold the chain together. So just listening to you, brother, is already amazing. I feel my consciousness is already raising, you know, like I feel a lot of things that you have gained, the knowledge, the expertise, and the learning that you have gained through obstacles, through levels of adversity, through trials, through tribulations, through time-tested things for your body and mind, for your spirituality, for your essence, for who you are. Like I've seen on your page, in your bio, it says I am, you know, like the I am presence,
Right.
the creator, you know, the creator of worlds, like understanding that you are the creator of your reality and accepting responsibility with that mentality. So, you know, just listening to you, and actually, just briefly, I want to answer someone's question. There was a lady in the audience here, I think it was Julie or Jules. Yeah, Jules. She said, blessings from El Salvador. Is that an EE system behind you? Yeah. So,
Yes.
Purell, you talked about it's an energy. Can you one more time say energy enhancer?
Yeah, so the name of it is the EE system
Hmm.
or Energy Enhancement
Energy
System.
enhancer.
And it wasn't known until a few years ago. Only a few people had it, like wealthy people in different parts of the world and different things like that. But in the last few years, it got more public. And now there's many centers around the world having that. And we were actually the first in Europe that had the full system
Mm.
because it has different levels to it. This is the full one with like 24 screens. Like you can have even four. And yeah, and now there's like 60 of them in Europe. It's amazing. But
Wow.
for me, it's like a spiritual technology,
Mhm.
literally,
Mm.
because it has a lot of science behind it. But at the same time, at the essence, what it really does, it brings you more connected with your higher self.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what happens when the voltage in the cells work better. The brain hemispheres start to align when you're here.
Hmm.
They would measure like people like with the EEG, and you will see how normally, you know, when a person meditates, he can reach certain states or align his brain hemispheres. But here you can do it in a few minutes,
Yeah.
even if you don't know how to meditate, you
Mm.
know? So it's been very interesting. To be honest, like in the beginning, me and Irina, my wife, we wanted this for ourselves, you know, because I was on this journey. I had the money and I wanted to buy all the things for health, all these things. And at the same time, I also have passion. I want to help people. So we had the time when we opened a center, a longevity center, and we had all kinds of like rare machines that is very hard to find and the best of each kind that still is non-invasive technology that aligns with nature. And what we would do is we would bring people like to do like a circuit. For example, you know probably the idea how hot cold contrast therapy is good.
Mhm.
Like so, but you can take it to another level. Like somebody can come and start like with a grounding therapy for 15 minutes, and after that he would do like uh, hypoxia therapy, which is like teaching you how to breathe with less air, kind of like if you're in the mountains. And but the grounding would prime the person to do that therapy better. And then once they do that, then their body is more oxygenated in a way. They would go to the infrared sauna, and that's more effective after that. And then they would end up with an ice bath.
Mhm.
So we had this interesting passion as we were trying to figure out what's the best way to reverse aging to have better longevity, but without all the things that are invasive. That I never resonated with.
Right.
And eventually, after trying everything, we ended up with this technology. That this is like was the best one because you can have 20 people in a room at the same time meditating. And we had, I think, probably in the last 2 years, over 1,000 people come to us. Many people come just to sleep here.
Mhm.
So we put mattresses and everything, and all kinds of things are happening. But you know what I learned from this experience of the EE system? I learned how our body works because our body does the same thing like this. So a lot of external technology is starting to show us how our body works, and through that technology is like a bridge. We can understand ourselves and then not depend on that for the long run.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, some things can help us to understand ourselves better. And yeah, so we want, just like this technology creates coherence, which creates more voltage in the cells, better alignment between the hemispheres of the brain. We want to learn to stay like that, to be coherent.
Mhm.
Um, and and yeah, then the effect we generate from our own biofield starts to be similar, like when you're here in this room. When your chi is raised, other people around you start to get better as well. So that's interesting.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love how, it doesn't only affect you as an individual, but it affects the collective. Like that's the perspective. Like that's the directive. That's the objective, like
Yeah.
affecting the world, and just letting that energy expand, letting it grow, letting it go, and letting it flow throughout all of us, so that it touches many lives. And I love that that's part of work that you're doing. You're allowing people to come into your space. You've cultivated this place to, invite in new faces, new people from different places, and bringing them into your space for healing, for a lot more
Yeah.
healing. It's a lot more revealing. Yeah, I love that. I love
And look, this was an experience for me because I'm by nature an introvert, but at the same time I'm super passionate about everything that I do. So when people were coming to us, some people come to sleep for like a week in a row.
it.
So I would stay with them every day, try to figure out like of course some people have a problem that they want to heal, but some people are healthy but they want to take their health to the next
Right.
level.
Right.
Kind of like how I was.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting. There's so many people that know so many things, and I would brainstorm with them different things and learn so much.
Mhm.
But you know what we said earlier? It's really true. Like you change, the more you change yourself, you change the world. And there is a level of experience that you have where you literally know, you don't just believe, you start to see how
Mhm.
everything is connected with you through experiences like beyond just a synchronicity every once in a while. And I'm sure you experience this too,
Yeah.
uh, where you just start to see like thoughts that you have in your head. People start to come to you with
Mhm.
these things, or things, situations around you start to happen exactly based on, uh, yeah, things that you already feel. And at that moment, when you really know it, you don't just believe it.
Mhm.
You start to do things differently, and you understand that in order to heal everything around you, you have to first heal this. And
Yes.
the more I heal this, even if it doesn't seem like I directly do something for my family or my friends or my area, everything is changing all the time. And it's like the more your field gets bigger, it's like influencing everything.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On every level, healing the inside to heal the outside. And I definitely want to go back and touch, more on the healings that we're revealing for you. But just briefly, I'd love for you to mention what you meant by invasive technologies, because I know that people, have ideas about, 5G and, just our phones and what they're
Yeah.
doing to us when they're in close proximity, like different devices that you feel are divisive, or what do you feel is invasive about certain technologies that people may take for granted every day?
So when I said invasive, I mean more like, let's say you make an injection or you do a surgery for something or something like that. That's more what I mean. However, like, that's what you realize on the journey. Like, first of all, like when I see this, like it's almost like a stage. A lot of people probably from your audience, like that are interested in breatharianism and detoxing and energy work and all these kind of things, they might have this experience like you might call the dark night of the soul, where basically you're detoxing and you have different experiences, and it's like in one way you feel like you have more energy, like your clairvoyance is going, like you're more clear about everything, like you receive messages and so on. But some things are you feel are negative, and one of those things I noticed from different people I met and my experience is that in that period, it's like you see kind of more enhanced, like the evil in the world and everything that is wrong and this. But actually it's because this moves through you in that moment, so you can only see things through your own vehicle. So once you go beyond that phase, you will not see so many things that look let's say chaotic as a problem. It will be just more like rather than it being something evil, it's something you can transmute into positive, because every shadow holds a gift. But at the same time, the main thing is like we want to come out of chaos, which is like this, the energy going everywhere, to more smooth and coherent, like aligning, kind of like water that can flow easily, like a spiral, right? And yeah, of course, there is some things like 5G and other things that are meant for, they are not designed with spirituality in mind, with energy in mind, how our body energetically works. However, something I realized on my journey is the more your own body is coherent, it's not that you need to defend against these things, but on the contrary, you don't. Like your body just transmute negative fields into positive ones. And that's again something I learned from external technology, because what they say the A system does, they don't say, oh, don't put Wi-Fi or things around it, but it says that the coherent energy is essentially transmuting the negative into positive, because every energy is just energy. We just need to structure it, right? So that it works. And it says that this one even goes like a few miles away. And if there are towers of electricity that are not, uh, they're more in a chaotic signal, let's say, to the human body, it will just transmute it into positive rather than protecting. And this is something I learned in my own life. Even though, yes, some technology maybe is not aligned with us, it's not necessarily evil,
Right.
So, for example, I have this ring that I wear, and I used to be like, this is like an aura ring. It tracks different things for sleep, for your heart rate, and etc. And I used to be against these things, And one day, my friends, because they know I'm so interested in longevity and health and all these things, they said, maybe Purell needs this, so they bought it for my birthday.
Right.
And and of course, when things come to you at a certain stage, you know that it's for you. So I was like, okay, let me try this,
Yeah.
and it helped me so much. And if I wasn't open to it, because I thought that, oh, technology, this, that,
Right.
then I wouldn't use it. So it's more about using technology in a coherent way.
Okay.
That's the key.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Beautiful.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. It just all circles back to coherence. I
yeah.
really feel like that coherence is a big theme, in this conversation. And I love that your friends were thoughtful enough, to give you such a gift that on your birthday. When is your birthday?
It's on June.
June. Okay, June. Wait, is that Cancer?
It's Gemini.
Gemini, air sign, air.
Yes.
Okay. Gemini, oh man, all the Geminis I know are the most curious. They're the ones
Right.
that really ask a lot of questions. The Geminis that I know are just constant learners, you know, consummate discoverers, learners. They're devourer of books, you know, they read a lot, you know. All the Geminis I know are very about the mind and elevating themselves.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
can imagine when I found the topic of breatharianism, for example, I probably watched over 500 videos and I wrote probably 5 books with my notes. I never published them, but this was like the level because I love to
Mhm.
write, you know, to write down what I'm learning, and through this, my brain understand better
Yeah.
what I learned. And so I have in my phone, I think like over 10,000 notes,
Gee,
separate notes from the last years, probably.
Jesus,
Uh,
that's
yeah,
that's
I
crazy.
might be I don't know the exact number. I might be oversaying it, just
It's
to be
okay,
honest.
you
But
know.
it's a lot. It would be like over 5 or 10 per day on
Yeah.
average.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you give a big picture, you know, you're really painting a picture of how astute and how keenly observant, you know, keenly aware you are, and you just you're able to get the details. You're able to almost like a, you know, like a masticating juicer, you're able to really extract
yeah.
and just pull out like all of the fiber and distill it into, you know, the essence. Yeah,
This is
yeah.
another key word besides coherence that I really like:
Mhm.
optimization, optimizing. And
Mhm.
that's what I learned from, again, from young age. In the beginning, it was optimizing maybe my online football team to be number one club in the world playing FIFA, how to optimize to find the best players in the world, the best strategies, and this and that. And then I went to making the best products. How do I optimize the businesses to be the best, you know? And then I went to coaching people again for business. Like, how do I optimize the person as an individual so he can, you know, like do better in that? And then it went to my own healing, optimizing my body.
Right.
So it's, but you see, when you are, this is an interesting thing. Anybody today, let's say they're interested in the health journey, right? Um, you you have lived a certain amount of years on this planet,
Mhm.
and that means you must be good at something, even if you don't see it, but you're good at something. And you can take the principles of what makes you good at it, and it applies to everything else. So one of the ways to grow in life in faster is using the principles of what you're already strong at and transferring it to another area. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like if it works here, then it works everywhere, you know?
Yeah. There is many principles that will go to like certain techniques
Hmm.
or shortcuts. They will not cross over to different areas, but
Hmm.
principles, they fit for everything.
Yeah, I agree. You know, that's like I once heard this. There's a Miyamoto Musashi, the Book of Five Rings. You know, he's the author of this book of strategy, the Book of Five Rings, kind of like Sun Tzu with the Art of War, but this is like the Japanese, you know, version, the Book of Five Rings, and just this strategy and this mindset and this philosophy of, you know, constant learning, constant working on yourself, kaizen, you know, continuous improvement. And Miyamoto Musashi, he was like a legendary, you know, swordsman that I believe he won, you know, in like 62, he killed 62 men in one-on-one combat, you know, so he dueled at a time where it was a fight to the death, you know, it was like, you know, win, lose or draw, like somebody had to fall. So he learned through his art that, you know, what you if you learn one thing, if you know the way broadly, then you can apply it in every area. You know, sort of like if somebody gets really good at skateboarding and they understand the art of skateboarding, they can apply it to playing the piano, they can apply it to painting, they can apply it to writing books, they can apply it. So it's like if you really know one thing, then you know like 10,000 things, you know,
Exactly.
if
Yeah,
you go
exactly.
deep, if you dive deep into one area. So I love that you were able to transfer all this knowledge from everything that you've done up until this point. You've transferred, and it's all earned compound interest. It's all compounded to amass to this level that you're at now. And what I was saying earlier about you being keenly observant, when I would watch you, brother, in sessions with Elitom, you were always so aware, always so observant, and always so open because I was just watching you listening. And I really just got the picture of this is somebody who understands how to listen. And like you said, with the abundance of notes that you would take down, it only makes perfect sense that you've come to these understandings and this newfound awareness because you've been paying attention. You know?
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, even like before I was even going on calls with Elitom, in that case, like I already listened to probably 1,000 hours from him and writing notes and everything. And then I started to join some of his masterminds, to do the online Qigong and see some of the things. And then eventually now, after a few years, also meeting him in person and practicing together. And it's been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And traveling too, like with him, I know you said you went to, let me see, there was London, there was France, and then
And Spain. Yeah, it
Spain.
was
Oh,
first,
London,
we
France,
went
and
to, yeah, we went first to France for I think 4 or 5 days. Then we came here 1 week in Spain in our house. We had like 20 people here with the system, meditating every day. It was amazing.
Mhm.
And then we went to London as well. And me and Irina, we did the 3 retreats together.
Wow.
And for me, it's normal because here people are doing like when you do a retreat with Elitom, like you're doing 3 times a day,
Mhm.
Qigong and different practices. And I was already doing like the last year, like every day, a
Yeah.
Qigong practice with Elitom, many times, 2 or 3 times. Which is a whole another thing like that we have to get into because especially for the audience that is watching us that is interested in fasting, breatharianism, and these things, there is so much important things to talk about to actually have a more coherent journey,
Mhm.
rather than depending just on the fasting and food alone, because there is more aspects that when you bring them together,
Yeah.
man, it's so much better. And I wish I knew that when I started.
When you say you wish you knew that, were there times that you felt you would have really benefited from like more energy work, more qigong, or more of one or the other with when maybe you were fasting alone or can you talk about you wish you knew that? Can you talk about that?
Of course, yes. So how Elitom would say is that there are like five pillars to energy cultivation. Like
Mhm.
there is the meditation, there is the exercise, there is the thought process, the way you think, there is the diet changes, and there is
Right.
fasting. So the thing is, most people coming into breatharianism, they only focus on the last two categories because they're focused on the result of ending up not eating, not drinking. They think that's the primary thing that will give them the energy that they seek.
Mm.
And so they focused a lot on these two categories, which brings them to certain progressions. Like for example, we all know, like when you eat lighter, you start to breathe better, you have more clarity. When you're fasting, let's say you're on a week of dry fasting, you probably experience this. You have all kinds of awareness, you solve things super fast. But there is more things that are important to integrate if you want to maintain it for more than just a week, or that energy, and the reality is you're not becoming a breatharian overnight. That's something that happened with a lot of people with the idea of the 21-day breatharian process and so on, which isn't a bad thing. It started the movement, right?
Mhm.
And there is an essence to it. In 21 days, a lot of things can change in your mind. So that's a really good thing. But I wasn't really thinking about it like the four wheels of the car before. I was thinking like it's just the fasting and the diet. And if I keep pushing those things, then suddenly the energy will unlock,
Mhm.
which some things did unlock. So I was, that's why I stick with it for like 2 or 3 years doing just that. And look, it's not like I wasn't exercising back then, wasn't doing some kind of meditations, but it wasn't like as serious as the fasting and the diet changes. And so I had these experiences, like I said, that I was a year of eating just fruits, and then I went into many weekly dry fasts. I think I had like 4 or 5 months where I was dry fasting every weekend, basically,
Wow.
and that was a nice experience. But and then I had the 2 months of juice fasting and so on and on. But I something was missing.
Mm.
The stability of my mind, the energy, the ability to maintain muscle, um, and yeah, many things. So once I understood that through partially through Elitom message, that was a big thing for me. But you see, he's teaching this to many people, but it's about if you can hear what he's
Yeah.
saying. Uh, and until you experience this, you don't really understand.
Right.
But yeah, if you want to have more energy, you have to meditate, you have to exercise, you have to work on your mind. Talking about I am affirmations, that's powerful. To be honest, like leading into like working with Elitom, like that's what I was doing that helped to unlock some parts in me,
Mm-hmm.
reprogramming my mind and working on your traumas, your triggers, and so on. Um, but even in the journey itself, working on these things helped me to propel myself to new levels with the food. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all connected with each other. And even when we say these 5 pillars, it sounds so simple, but it can go very in depth, like the difference between elite football
Mm-hmm.
player and an average
Yeah.
player, you know. And normally, when we want to go into longer fasting, longer this, we tend to let go of some of these things, a bit less exercise, a bit less meditation, a bit less this, you know. So it's about how can I maintain everything and grow them together, little by little, everything, and then you are super stable
Mm-hmm.
maintaining that, and that's what you want anyways.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so it has an art form behind it which we can
Yeah.
discuss.
Yeah. So what did it do for you, brother, when you realized that you were now able to maintain muscle, you were able to, exercise, you were able to be in a state where you weren't fainting, you weren't falling out, you weren't losing or lacking energy, but as well, you had a lot less consumption, you were consuming a lot less calories, or sometimes even not at all. Like what did it do for you to have that new understanding?
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like the holy grail of vegetarianism is when can you actually keep your body weight, your muscles, even though you have less calories, right? Because it's not just about, for me at least, I wouldn't want to achieve, like, let's say, a state that I just drink water or not have anything at all or eat just in the weekends. But at the same time, I feel tired. I cannot move. It's hard for me to connect with people around me because when I see food, it triggers me, or you understand different things like that. So I appreciate more how can I be in the world, be out there with everybody and still have this power. How can I, even if it takes longer to achieve it, how can I achieve it this way? And um and yeah, like this year I have been doing you see, I started doing qigong, which is one of the main things that Elitom would explain about 3 years ago. However, I wasn't that serious about it because I was kind of doing it, but not really getting why I'm doing it. But happened like in this February of this year, where I was already after my 2 months of juice fasting, and something felt in me like, yes, I have the energy, I have the clairvoyance, um, and I breathe really good, so I have high endurance. I can walk in the mountains, but I couldn't get my muscles like to be strong and everything. And I felt more agitated for some reason. I noticed this. And then eventually I went on a process where I allowed myself to eat a bit, some things that maybe I was suppressing before. And I learned this is an interesting thing. And then we can go into the energy work. Um, I learned actually how you can heal using food instead of just withdrawing from food. Because you see, when we talk about the 5 pillars, one of them is the thought process, and that's very connected to everything else. So, we have a lot of traumas in our life, different programs that only if we change them, then the body would work in a certain way. And sometimes somebody thinks that he's fasting, but he's actually not. For
Mm.
example, you might be without food and water for 3 days, but why can't you sustain that? Why the energy is not flowing is because we have these unconscious thoughts that are food too, because thoughts are physical. So they're also there. You didn't detox them or adjust them. So you see, you have to work this invisible food
Ooh.
as well. And that's the real game, I tell you. And what I want to say is that in that time, I realized when I made a list, okay, let something didn't work out because I couldn't just go from just juices and a weekly fast to full breatharianism. So something was missing. And so I started to allow myself to eat different things. But every time I would eat something, before, during, and after, I would think, what does this make me feel? You know, what does this remind me of? And it would be things from my childhood and uh, different people, different situations. And by that point, I already knew how to work with my mind to reprogram things, which is another thing we can speak about. And so every time I had access through the food to those memories, I would reprogram them. So then I went through every single food. Of course, I was still eating plant-based. There's some things that I don't think I'll ever eat again. But through that experience, even though, yes, I was a bit more blocked energetically in one way, like my endurance, the breathing wasn't the same, like when you're just on liquids and stuff like that. But mentally and physically, I was healing on another level, working with all these energies, which the food is like an anchor to all these memories. So I could access all these different memories one by one and heal that part. And then I was feeling a lot better. And I started to realize that there are more ways to access that feeling when you're on a fasted state, you know, that amazing feeling, more than just the food, more than just withdrawing for the food. And that led me eventually to starting the Qigong journey earlier this year. Of course, came the time, it was 14th of February, and I saw this thing that some people are fasting 40 days on that time of the year, so it's a good time to fast. And of course, I'm after 6 months after my long fasting before that I allowed myself to eat and things. So I said, oh, maybe because I allowed myself to eat, now is the time to go fasting again. And maybe this time I'll go stronger or something. Um, but in the end, life pushed me to, I was thinking I'm going to do 40 days of fasting. My body didn't let me do it. Like, but what it did let, I ended up doing is 40 days of Qigong. And that was life changing. Once I've been through that 40 days, I never stopped since. And every single day for about 9 months now, 9 months, I do at least one session, but in reality, I've been doing like 4 8 hours a day of working on myself, which Qigong is one of the primary things. There will be many techniques to reprogram, to exercise, to rest my body. And then in the first month already doing this, doing the Qigong and other things, I started to feel the same sensations like when I was dry fasting. And I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. Like, so dry fasting and all these strongest fasts is not the only thing that gives you this energy and clarity. And then when I would fast just for a day, compared to I would reach a state that normally would take me 3 or 5 days to fast because my baseline um, of my thought process, of my exercise, of my meditation, of my rest was way better than before. So that's an experience. And when you experience it, you understand it's not just about changing your diet and fasting. So you start to appreciate all the other parts of your life and you strengthen them. And then together, you reach a more sustainable state.
Yes.
Uh, and yeah, it's so much to talk about.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're back to the cohesion, just making it all cohesive, bringing it all in oneness, and really feeling the abundance, feeling the abundance of that energy and just the flowing and growing wherever it's going. It's like when you're doing these practices, these energetic practices, in complementary with, the fasting, with not just the fasting, not just the exercise, not just the lifestyle change of the diet, but also everything in between. And you're seeing that I guess you're seeing your hunger start to diminish, cravings start to diminish, different desires, different obsessions, different addictions start to diminish, and things are just kind of falling away. I would know that, Elitom would always tell us as well that, the meditation is the foundation, meditation is medication, and that the more we lean into that, we raise the vibration and everything else will fall away. All the things that are not no longer serving us start to fall away when we focus on that area, when we don't worry about, just stopping this completely. Like you said before, you said people focus on the result.
Yeah.
They're walking up to the edge of the mountain and they're looking straight at the peak of the mountain and they're focusing on the summit. They want to be there. They feel like that's their destination, and they're not really enjoying the journey or the small steps that must take them along the way.
I was like
So,
this for many years, you know, and only since February this year, I would say that I really started to get on the journey of joy. Like I actually enjoy the process, and
right.
actually, like you think about the result only as, oh, I'm a full Breitarian or whatever.
Mhm.
But there's so many small changes. If you work on all these areas, every month you will feel better and better and better because you're not stuck with the head against the wall only on one thing, you
Exactly.
know? And yeah, and I would start to feel like 1 month doing Qigong, just that, as the extra thing I'm doing. And I was like eating like normal, you know, like, but I would feel so much better, and like my breathing would improve. Everything that you think happens when you eat lighter and fast more. And
Hmm.
then slowly, like once I integrated that baseline, every 2 months or so my food will start to decrease again like it used to before, but this time I would keep my muscles
Hmm.
and strength, and it will be like a very nice slow gradual
Yeah.
change. And in I think really in the last 9 months, I've probably put thousands of hours into optimizing my life,
Wow. Beautiful.
and yeah, and then little by little, it's changing, and the food goes lighter, but you keep your weight, and that's really what you want. You
Yeah.
would think that only you have to do a strong fast, reset everything, and then grow the weight back while not eating.
Mm.
But the way I experience it is more like small changes at a time and stabilizing on that.
Yes. Just like nature, nature, small changes at a time. They say nature doesn't make giant leaps or big jumps, it's just incremental, almost imperceptible changes. Like they almost don't even look like anything's happening.
Right.
You look at a tree, it looks like it's not doing anything, but it's doing everything, it's doing everything. So the same goes with our bodies, our cellular makeup, like the things that are changing on a molecular level that are probably just so seemingly insignificant. We don't even think that it matters, but it all matters. It all factors in and it's all cohesive. So I'd love to hear actually, brother, your opinion, because I've only known Elitom for like 4 years now since I met him late 2019. That's when I first met him in the physical. And I've been to multiple retreats with him as well. And everything that you're saying, it really adds credence to the fact that since he's been on this journey over 2 decades, over 20 years on this journey, it makes sense now, the level that he's at now, being able to go without for so long and retain so much and gain so much without having anything. I mean, just to, full disclosure, as long as I've known him, as many retreats as I've been with him, as many places that I've been with him, I've never seen him eat. I've never seen
Right.
him drink. And I've never even seen him need to excuse himself to go use the restroom or go to use the facilities or go to like, hey guys, let's take a break. I'll be right back. And he talks for hours. He walks for hours. He's doing more than we are, and he's constantly just in that jubilant, joy of ecstasy and bliss and just laughter. And you're just like, what? Nothing's going in, nothing's coming out. How is this possible? So,
Yeah.
with you traveling with him, what was the effect of just being next to him and being in his energy space? Like, what did you really learn from being around him?
First of all, like being around him in physical was nice because I saw he's a human,
Right.
you know, like that helped me like to see him, and I see him like a friend now as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was amazing because first of all, even though you spend 3 years with him online, thousands of sessions, like, well, hundreds of sessions, maybe thousand of hours, you start to see, wow, he's really like doing this. It's
Mhm.
real. And the even beyond that, like, because I was listening to him 3 years ago, and the way he is today, you look at him and his body, he's growing himself. It's not like there is a destination and you finish.
Right.
And we were doing like 3 times a day qigong. Plus, we went to the gym in the break for like many days in a row, and we were training together, and it was amazing, you know. But I think the thing people don't see is the work he's been putting for the last 25 years, meditating every single day. He put like over 10,000 hours easily. Um, they don't understand the benefit or the effect of that. They just look at the result, like the obvious results, like we say, without what it takes and the lifestyle changes that you have to make. And so, yeah, it's very inspiring. And at the same time, I think this is just the beginning. I think, as he would say as well, like breatharianism is just one power level. There is more powers, but that's the thing. That's why you don't want to get stuck just on that idea. There is more. It's just the more energy you have, breatharianism is just a byproduct of a certain level of energy. So you really want to cultivate energy into your body. And it's not just to grow your energy, it's to grow in coherence, like we say, you see? And that's when it's sustainable. And yeah, and then probably a lot of things that we see in the movie one day will be possible just from that. And the food thing is just the first thing. But you see, when you get on the energy journey, rather than food freedom journey, which is also interesting, it's a part of it anyways. Um, that's amazing because regardless if in this moment you eat or not or how you do, you can have more energy if you work on yourself. And that's such a more nice, soft experience because rather than forcing yourself, even if you don't think you force yourself, we kind of force ourselves to let go of some foods and things like that, to kind of reject them. It's more like it will naturally, like the apples fall from the tree, now you're ready, you know? And it's like if you do feel like eating something, right? And you sometimes eat it or whatever, it will be okay because you know you're still working on other things that lift your energy because you work on all the pillars. And then because you didn't reject it and you allowed yourself to have it, then one day it will actually permanently finish and you didn't have to suffer at all. And that's amazing. Like, so one of the things even Elitom would share before is that, I mean, he was in a situation that, you know, like he had his son and they were eating every in the weekends, right? And you would normally think from the mainstream vegetarian knowledge of most teachers that just focus more on the food part, that man, if you are like just drinking or just try fasting 5 days a week, if you go straight to pizza or something like that, that he was doing, you will like, it will be too much, you know, you will not be able. But you see, when you work on more elements, it's not just the food that brings you the energy. So more possibilities are opening up, and now you are not so stressed about one thing or another, which actually helps you to detach from it and long term to let it go. Better than if you just progress on that. So this change of mindset really helped me a lot, even to achieve directly the goal of eating less, if that makes sense, because I'm not so worried about it anymore. And when I do want to something come to me, a friend or some food that I want to eat, still within a category that I accept, because there, as I said, some things I don't feel like I can ever eat again. But I can have it, but it won't change my average, what I do in general. And for example, like when you do Qigong, right, you raise your hands. I don't know if you can see it in the camera.
Yeah.
And you stay like this, relaxed with the spine straight for 5 minutes. The body has to move the blood circulation upwards, you know? So it has to, the body learns how to, first of all, stay relaxed under tension, right? And also like how to move energy upwards. And normally when we feel tired when we don't eat and etc., it's because not there's not enough energy in the brain coming up to the brain. So we think just detoxing the food and everything will unblock everything so it flows. But it's not just the blockage that is the problem, it's also a force to push it. You know, so when you do this, you train your body to move the energy upwards. And then, like in that very moment, what the body does is actually, in order to move energy upwards, it has to unblock things in your belly and so on. So, and then the heat rises up. So, in that moment, you are detoxing just like when you are fasting, even stronger. So, actually, in that Then I discovered what is even a stronger fast than dry fasting. And it was energy cultivation, because in that moment you do this,
Mhm.
you can feel everything is like detoxing in your stomach and everything. But once you do that every day for a month and then a few months, it's naturally
Yeah.
happening, and you actually you feel a lot better. And then the moment when you drop a certain
Mhm.
food, you won't feel weak,
Right.
and your muscles stay and everything, because you have another source of energy
Exactly.
already. It's not only when, not something that unlocks suddenly after you drop the food. You already previously worked on it, and one day just the body doesn't want this food,
Mm-hmm.
but you are strong actually. And I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe it until I saw it. And now, like, the weight that I'm at, right, the weight that I'm eating today, I'm still not, like, not eating at all, or I'm mostly drinking at the moment in the last 2 weeks, and lighter and lighter. But in the same time, the calories even that I consume from food, before I would be like 8 kilograms less than now. And my body looks the best it ever did. Usually, when you drop food, you start to, maybe you get more shredded in a way. What's the right word to say? You have less fat and so on. But I didn't have as much muscle like this before. So, but the last 9 months, I focused on Qigong,
Mm-hmm.
strength training, all these things, and the food just drops every once in a while, and then I sustain more energy. So I hope that makes sense.
It's
It's not always easy to explain.
it's perfect. That was a beautiful explanation, very eloquent, very thorough, and just very logical, logical about the posture and just the positioning. When we're putting ourselves in the right position for the energy to flow, then that's where we're allowing that energy to go to break blockages in the body, energetic things that we may not even have accounted for, things in the unseen.
Yeah.
And even back when you're talking about the invisible food, right? The intangible, the things that we can't touch, that we can't really see, but are there, and they're having a significant effect on our body and just our energetic system, our nervous system, our electrical system, our just our chemical makeup in the body. And I love that explanation of how heat rises upwards. The heat rises up. It's like coming up to the crown, almost like I seen that you had a video or a picture with Ira, and you and
Right.
Ira were in the picture, and there was a song from Dragon Ball, and Goku, Super Saiyan, when they go Super Saiyan, the energy comes up and the hair glows yellow. It's like all of that energy is coming up to the crown chakra, and it changes the crown. Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, they even get bigger, a bigger crown, and all these evolutions of different power, like power levels of power. So you're doing the same thing with your body when you're allowing the energy to come up. You're allowing the energy to go in that upward direction. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, like I feel like I'm living like my childhood dream, like an adventure. There's something about this journey that attracts so many Dragon Ball fans. It's amazing. But yeah, it's different when you actually experience than just having the concept. Because before I was just, trust me, I know all the teachers of Breatharianism, everything they're teaching. Like, of course, not all, but like I listened to everything. I understood all the ideas,
Mm,
but to actually feel it in your body, the changes, that's another thing. And then you really start to know how to optimize, and you understand that it's not something you will finish now to grow. Even in 20 years from now, probably I will keep finding more things to grow. So it's a life journey. And yeah, speaking about the invisible part, like I think uh, the reason that I feel that this year I progressed super fast is that not only like I'm doing I added the qigong, and really a stronger focus on exercise in general, because it's not just the qigong. Qigong is amazing on its own, and the qigong that I practice more is the standing like a tree qigong, the zhang zhong, which I really like. But the more you go deeper and you maintain that, and now it's part of your lifestyle, now you want to add more aspect, because I put a post one time like exercise has more elements. You have the motionless exercise, Okay, so you're not moving,
Right.
like it's like
Mm.
this. But if you check your heart rate, it's going up because it's not easy
Mm.
to stay like with the hands up and with the knees bent, but you're not moving,
Right.
you know? So that's one type of exercise that helps you with one aspect. Then you have the slow motion exercise, which is like Tai Chi, right?
Mm.
Like slow movements, stillness in motion. And that's another aspect of yourself that you can develop. And then there is the exercise in motion. And then you have some things like strength training.
Right.
And then you have some parts like cardio and walking and so on. So it's almost like I just said like four different things.
Yeah.
And usually a person just work on one of them, but not very often a person kind of try to balance all of them and
Yeah.
grow with all.
Yes.
And I've been doing that this year, and that really helped me
Mm.
with the other aspects. And even that is just one thing by itself. So you see, everything is like there is the macro and the micro.
Right.
So within exercise, I want to improve many different things over time, of course. And I want things that will be permanent. But in the bigger picture, I also added my thought process and at least equally to the exercise, meaning like on a professional level almost like because of course many people do affirmations and different things, but I'm doing meditations every day of like 2 hours, sometimes like different things, reprogramming, learning how to use my mind stronger to visualize things to affect my body. I give you a very practical tip.
Mhm.
Like many people know the power of affirmations. Let's say you realize you have something come up in your life in one area. Let's just say it's in your health or relationship or whatever. And many people know that they can find affirmations, I am affirmations usually, that starts with I am, that can help you with that, right? They maybe don't know exactly how it works, but they feel a calling for it and they do these affirmations maybe for 21 days. But you see, like for me, what I learned is like there is stronger ways to make these affirmations affect your
Mm.
body. For example, like using visualization, instead of just saying I love myself, I love life, everything happens in a great way for me, etc. You can visualize it in every cell in your body. You can
Mm.
visualize it in every situation in your past, in the
Mhm.
future.
Mm.
You can put it to your ancestors. And all these things, while it might not make sense to us, it actually accesses more of your cells and reprograms it stronger. So there was another master that I learned this from,
Mm.
and I constantly work with that. And there is a level where you start to notice because your mind gets so used to reprogram things. Let's say if in this moment I have a talk with you,
Mm.
and through talking with you, I realize there is something I want to reprogram in my body. While we are still talking, I would already visualize everything and adjust it in my brain, and it will actually affect my cells in
Mm.
the long run.
Right.
Of course, if something I want to do it stronger, I would really focus on that more. But it's kind of like using your thoughts as your third hand, kind of like there's the third eye,
Yeah.
like your thoughts become your third
Yeah.
hand. But it's something that is numb for most people because thoughts go and people don't realize that their thoughts are physical
Yeah. Yeah.
because literally somebody can measure your mind when you're thinking or not. So it's actually physical. But why we don't feel it's important is because it's almost like a lower density,
Mm.
so we don't see
Mhm.
it. But if somebody master more their mind, they can put many coherent thoughts together. You can call them thought
Mhm.
forms, and those thought forms will affect your reality stronger than a normal thought. And that's something that I work with and I see its effect. And that's one of my other tools in the journey. And the more I work with that, the more I can work with the food part and exercise. And the more I work with that, the more I can work with this. So it's like a back and forth. And
Yes.
yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. That's just a great way to end this off, like giving us so many tools in our toolbox, in our toolkit, in our just arsenal, like just so many gadgets on the utility belt. Like we have so much that we can use and we have nothing to lose. It's awesome just to hear from your experience that we have an abundance of resources available when we tap into our resourcefulness and we find it, we see the knowledge. So thank you, brother. Thank you for this like testimony. Thank you just for your words. Thank you for just giving us like all these things, all the way from your trials with the body, with what you went through, the pain and the suffering that you went through, the surgery, like all the way up until now, where you're just going leaps and bounds with your body, even if it's only incremental small steps, it's still a lot of progress from where you used to be. And I love that you're able to gain and retain the things that you want for yourself in life, you know? So blessings, brother.
Thank
Can you
you.
please like just let people know before you go what resources that they could have available for you? Like any offerings? Do you do one-on-one coaching? Do you counsel sessions, or any website that they can go to receive your offerings?
Yeah, the moment I started to post some things on Instagram, on my Instagram, on Purell Maor. And I also I have a community where we do the Qigongs, 14 sessions per month.
Beautiful.
And that has been amazing for the last 4 months. So if you want to join, you can see it on my bio on Instagram. But yeah, other than that, I just want to leave everyone with one quick idea. Look into these 5 pillars: meditation or rest for your sleep, and sleep quality, and so on, and exercise, your thought process, diet, and fasting cycles,
Mhm.
and which one of these 5 areas you are less strong
Mhm.
on, and work on that more, and it will lead to doing even better on the other ones. And yeah,
Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome, brother. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your evening. And just thank you once again for coming on. This is really a pleasure. Really a pleasure.
same, same. Nice to talk with you, Jerome. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Take care, everyone. Much love.